Hey guys, you asked me to go back to 3-star Bahamut for a quicker clear on the gold emblem. So we're going to be going for an OTK, literally one turn kill from max health. So we're going to take some Esters and a Wilk and just blow this boss from orbit from 100% to dead. This is the party. Let's get in here and do it. We're going to be doing it on turn 3. Now, there is a little bit of RNG involved because if the boss is physical immune on turn 3, well, we lost. We need him to go magic immune on turn 3. Okay, so to start off, we're going to have Wilk Barrage to break the gauge. Yigni is going to triple gauge break and then put up 5 times cast. Gilgamesh will triple gauge break as well with spear break. Now we're going to wait for all this to finish because there's a bug with Sylvie's Magnus, and if you use her Entrust Magnus while people are animating, there's a high chance of it crashing the game. So we're going to wait for all these animations to finish, and then we're going to use Sylvie. Okay, so now Sylvie is going to triple. We're going to do I've Got Your Back on the friend. We're going to start the auto casting for Lightning Amp, and we're going to Earth Imbue. Now the Earth Imbue is for next turn, so we can continue gauge breaking. So we're going to use the friend to put up the LB field so everyone gets it on the burst turn. Esther is going to Stormbrand, Shatterbolt, and Electromagnetic. That's an Omni cover. Now my Esther is going to Omni cover all the attacks of Bahamut. We're going to resist the fire damage, we're going to absorb the thunder damage, and then we're going to die to the wind damage intentionally. I want to die. That's going to expose the party to the atomic ray, and then when Sylvie gets hit with the atomic ray, she will counter and bring my Esther back, and that's going to be a janky way to remove the Omni cover. We don't want her Omni covering next turn. So there we go. We countered. Perfect. As you saw, the rest of the party is wearing guts. So okay, we're good. Now we're going to continue to gauge break, and because we're Earth Imbued and the boss is weak to Earth on turn 2, this will continue giving full gauge break damage. Gilgamesh is going to double gauge break, and then he's going to Omni cover this turn. He's taking the attacks on turn 2. Now Wilk is going to just set up for bursting. That's going to also put up AoE Dragon Killer. Sylvie can go to the base form. We're going to offense, and we're going to resist buff because we need that for our Wilk. Now Esther is going to set up for bursting next turn. We're going to kill the boss next turn, unless the boss decides to be a super jerk and get magic resist. I'm sorry, physical resist. So we're looking for magic resist right here. Please, boss. Magic resist. Okay, finally. Oh, this boss wasn't cooperating. He kept doing physical resist. Anyway, our Gilgamesh is 400% to all 3 of these elements, ice, water, and earth. And then the last attack will kill Gilgamesh, but we don't really care about that. That's okay. Thank you, Gilgamesh. Come right on back from the re-raise. Isn't that awesome? That re-raise from turn 1 brought him back again. So, once again, Yigni is going to times 5. Actually, not yet. So, we're currently still imbued with Earth from the earlier turn. We're going to use Sylvie to shift and get rid of that Earth Imbue, because now it's time for pure bursting on Thunder. So we're just going to Lightning Amp, and then now we have a 100% Thunder Amp, and that removed the Earth Imbue. So let's have Yigni go ahead and times 5 Sweeping Blades to get rid of it. And unfortunately, Gilgamesh can't Brave Shift, but he can Barrage in the base form, and that'll handle the last of the gauge. So, in a moment, the gauge will be broken. Now, the reason we're breaking this gauge is all of the units on the party have the gauge break bonus passive learned from the Esper. The Esters are on Bahamut with gauge break bonus learned, and my Wilk is on the new 3-star Ashura with gauge break bonus learned. And because the gauge break bonus is a multiplicative damage bonus, it's literally a 50% damage bonus. So it's almost like we're using extra Esther and a half on the party because we broke that gauge. So anyway, we're going to now kill the boss. So we're going to use the Magnus LB of Wilk and then the LB of the esters, and there it is. That should be the end of Bahamut from 100%. Okay, so boom, turn 3. The reason I like this strategy, I know there's other strategies people have been doing turn 3 clears. For example, I know Wanderers did a turn 3 clear, which is kind of cool. The other strategies that I've seen, they do it in 2 different bursts, which means you need RNG to line up where the boss is vulnerable on 2 different turns in a row. It's certainly doable. It might take multiple tries to get that. I like my strategy because it only does 1 burst. You're only waiting for a 50-50 one time. It's a little bit more reliable, but of course, the gearing is specific. So here's the gear we use. So Gilgamesh, as you saw, he is, I'm going to show you the gear in a second. I'm just going to tell you the basic rolls. So he breaks the gauge with a double spear in the shift form, and he omni covers on turn 2. Yigni is just a big boy gauge breaker with ×5 cast. All he does, he unlocks his ×5, and he just breaks gauge every turn. Sylvie did amplifies and all that, you know, and the re-raise trick, as you saw. Wilk, just damage and AoE Dragon Killer, and then Esters are damage, and my Esther omni covered. So, Gilgamesh, in the base form, is just dual-wielding spears, non-elemental spears, and barrage, because he's stuck in the base form on turn 3. Shift form, where we start. Now, this build, this is probably going to be, for people that try to copy this clear, is going to be by far the hardest thing to copy. Because he needs, after buffs, 400% to ice, water, earth, and that's it. He also needs guts in this form, so he survives the atomic ray on turn 1. And he needs to be dual-wielding non-elemental spears. So most of you are not going to be able to build this, but if you can, go for it. So we're getting 20% ice resist from both of the Dragoon Lances. These are one-handed spears, and they give some ice resist, and they're non-elemental. We're dual-wielding those. We're getting dual-wield from Genji Glove, resist all from this, ice armor from this, 80% from this. We're getting guts from the new Journey card. That also gives a grand total of 40 ice resist. So guts, and then ice resist, ice resist. And then shift form, we're getting some ice and water from Cool Beauty. We're getting some water and earth from Prideful. We're getting all 3 from Duty to the World. And we're getting some water and earth from Knowledge of the Truth. So very, very hard to build this Gilgamesh. And again, this is more of a show-off clear. I didn't really intend for this to be accessible. I was intending it for it to be a 1-turn burst. Yigni, literally just guts and dual-wielding daggers. He is super good at breaking the gauge when it matters, because he has 5 times cast with the gauge break. Sylvie, in the shift form, as much magical counterattack as possible. I technically gave her daggers. That's not really important, because she doesn't actually attack. Cypher's Coat, Double Blizzard, Sturdy Headband, Looming Wrath, Proof of Talent, Guts with a Werber's Boon, and she needs to have her TMR passive. We're not using a card. This is obviously max counter build. You don't need this much. If you have less counter, it's just more RNG. But with this, you're pretty much always going to counter, and you're good. Wilk in the base form, guts and dual-wielding daggers with the barrage skill. Base form, he barrages on turn 1. It's kind of important because we had exactly enough gauge break to break the boss. Shift form, you can use either the axe or the fist, whatever you want. But LB damage versus dragons and beast. So here we go. Indestructible Light. He's using this card. And max damage, beast 275, dragon 300. And this is very important. On Ashura, we've got the break damage boost node learned. This is a multiplicative damage bonus. So it is a grand total of 50% total damage increase under the break status. That's on the Ashura Esper. Now my Esper, or I swear I always call it Esper, Esther, has the same thing on Bahamut. Not that one. Break damage boost from damage under the break status. We get basically almost double damage. And then LB damage versus dragons and beast. 8875 attack power. Here's the build, and we're using the better card on her. Maxed LB, 275 Beast, 275 Dragon. Now my Esther in the shift form is using 400 fire resist. We're absorbing lightning because of her Magnus, and we are not resisting wind. It's important that you do not resist wind. We want her to die. And here's the build we're using. Double daggers, so we can do a tiny bit more break gauge on the with our Shatter Bolt. And then friend, this one was Agni. I've also got a bunch more friends built me Esters. You know, shout out to Tommy and Resnet and a few other people that built me Esters, but Agni appeared first. Anyway, he has the very similar build to mine, maybe identical, or close, not using the card. And then shift form, he built me a barrage shift form, but turns out I didn't actually use that strategy. The friend doesn't need barrage. The friend just needs damage. Oh, and Agni also has the break gauge bonus learned on his Bahamut. So here we go. Wow. Variance is a hell of a thing. Mine is geared the same as the friend, and he did 200,000 more than me. That is surprising, but okay, interesting, awesome, whatever. We got it. So there was our OTK on turn 3 from 100% health. You guys been asking me for a long time, go do Bahamut again, do Bahamut again. Well, I did Bahamut again, and it even counts as an exploration. Okay, hope it was fun. See you guys next time.